Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a massive health trend, intermittent fasting. So, is this a real health game changer or just another popular fad? Let's get into it.
You hear all this amazing stuff on one side, better metabolism, a longer life, but then you also hear these warnings about side effects and whether anyone can actually stick with it. So in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise to give you a clear, balanced look at the science, the risks, and what it's actually like to do.
Okay, so let's dive right in. First things first, what even is intermittent fasting, or IF as people call it?
At its heart, it's really just a way of scheduling your meals. You're not necessarily counting every calorie or banning certain foods. Nope. The whole focus is on creating these specific windows of time when you eat and when you don't. And, it actually comes in a few different flavors.
So the one you probably hear about the most is time-restricted eating. That's the classic 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and then eat all your meals within an 8-hour window. But there are more intense versions too, like fasting every other day, or the 5-2 diet, where you eat normally 5 days a week and then seriously cut your calories on 2 days.
So why on earth would anyone do this? Well, the whole reason people get so excited about IF revolves around this one core scientific idea, something called flipping the metabolic switch. And if you can understand this switch, you'll understand all the potential upsides. I mean, think about it for a second. Most of us eat across a pretty wide window every day. From that first coffee with cream and sugar in the morning to a late-night snack watching TV. What that means is our bodies almost never, ever run out of their main fuel, which is sugar or glucose. But when you fast long enough, usually past that 12-hour mark, your body's ready to use sugar stores, they run out. And that forces your body to do something really important. It literally flips a switch. It stops burning sugar and starts burning fat for fuel instead. That's a state called ketosis. Now, get this. This new fuel source, these things called ketones, they aren't just some clunky backup generator. Some of the research actually suggests that they might be a preferred fuel for your brain and your muscles. The idea is that it could be a cleaner, maybe even more efficient source of energy than sugar.
So this metabolic switch is where all those potential benefits you hear about come from. Studies have linked it to everything from better blood sugar control and less inflammation to even kicking off these deep cellular repair processes, all while helping with fat loss and maybe even improving your cholesterol. Okay, but it is definitely not all sunshine and roses. There are some pretty significant risks and side effects to think about here, and let me be clear, this is absolutely not for everyone. Here's the thing though, even if you lose weight just because you're eating for fewer hours, your own body can fight back, and it can fight back pretty hard. When you deprive your body of food, it can trigger this really powerful biological drive to make up for it later. Okay, first up, risk number 1. You might just feel, kind of crummy. It is super common, especially when you're just starting out, to get headaches, feel sluggish and tired, get cranky, and even constipation as your system tries to figure out what's going on. And then there are your hormones. Your body has this really neat system for managing hunger. Think of it like this. One hormone, ghrelin, is the one that yells, "I'm hungry." And another one, leptin, is the one that says, "Okay, I'm full." Well, fasting can mess up that conversation, basically turning the volume way up on that "I'm hungry" hormone. And that can lead to some really intense cravings and a huge risk of overeating when you finally do eat. And this is a big one. For some people, like older adults or anyone who's already underweight, fasting could be straight up harmful. We're talking about the risk of losing too much weight, which can mess with your bone health, hurt your immune system, and just drain your energy. And this might be the most crucial point of all. This is not something you should just try on your own without talking to a doctor first, especially if you have any kind of health condition or you're taking medication. And this quote from Harvard Health really drives that home. For instance, people on medications for things like blood pressure or diabetes often have to take their pills with food. For them, fasting isn't just a bad idea. It can be genuinely dangerous and lead to some really serious health problems. Okay, so let's say you've done your homework, you've talked to your doctor, and you've decided to give intermittent fasting a try. How do you do it the smart way? How do you do it right? All right, when you're in that fasting window, the name of the game is hydration, and it has to be with zero-calorie drinks. Water is your best friend, of course. Unsweetened black coffee or tea, they're fine too. The one absolute rule is to stay away from anything with calories.
That means no sugar, no milk, no juice, and definitely no alcohol. Any of those will break your fast instantly and stop that metabolic switch. Now, what you do when the fast ends is just as critical. The last thing you want to do is shock your system. Your goal should be to give your body nice, easily digestible food that's going to keep your blood sugar stable. That means you want to focus on things like protein, healthy fats, and those good complex carbs that are full of fiber. Definitely not a giant plate of junk food. And one last tip here. Portion size is everything. Eating a huge meal too fast, right after you've been fasting, is a perfect recipe for feeling bloated and uncomfortable. So start with a small meal, and then just wait. Give it 20 minutes. It takes that long for your body to send the, "Hey, I'm full" signal up to your brain. All right, so we've looked at the science, the potential upside, the very real risks, and the practical side of things. Where does that leave us? What's the final verdict here?
Well, the truth is, while intermittent fasting can definitely deliver some results in the short term, a lot of experts are going to tell you that for most people, it's just not sustainable. These kinds of really restrictive eating schedules can be incredibly hard to stick with, and they don't necessarily teach you the kind of balanced, mindful eating habits you need for good health in the long run.
Look, there's no doubt that fasting can flip that metabolic switch we've been talking about and shift your body into burning fat. But the real question isn't just about your biology, it's about your psychology. Is this a healthy, sustainable path for you, or is it just another restrictive diet with hidden costs? Ultimately, that's a conversation you need to have with yourself and, most importantly, with your doctor. Thanks for watching.